end, just so everyone knows we're being recorded. All yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and spending an hour with us today. I know Emily, Jamal, and I have prepared for this, and we're really excited to discuss this topic with you and engage with all of you as our colleagues. So thank you for choosing our session today. The title is Aligning College and Career Counseling in the Public School System. So understanding that this is one of the 3 primary hats that we wear as public school counselors, we are dedicating our presentation today to that arena. Next slide.
Okay, so before we get started, or as we get started, we just are going to ask you to fill out the poll. You can click on the hyperlink there, just so we can get an idea of who is in the audience today, and then also what you're hoping to gain from this presentation. So we'll give you a moment to open those, and you guys, we're going to start introducing ourselves, but you can continue to fill out the survey and submit that survey.
We'll give them a minute to link, and then we can go to the next slide. Does that sound good?
Totally fine. We can. Do you want me to? I guess I could put it in this.
Yeah, let's put it in the chat, and then we can
Yes.
continue speaking.
Oh yeah, because if it's a PDF, they're not looking at PDF, but I have to. Can one of you guys pull it?
Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay.
Perfect.
Let's go to the next slide, and I'll introduce myself.
Perfect.
Who's managing the slides? Is it Amber or Emily? Oh, okay. Do you want to do next slide?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Clicked it on the wrong screen.
Perfect. Okay. Again, I'm Jayme Cambra. I work in the San Diego Union High School District. It's so good to meet you all. I'm a counselor on special assignment, so I feel like I work for, you know, FBI sometimes. All the fun things I get to do. I was previously a counselor and head counselor and assistant principal at Torrey High School. Prior to that, I was in Los Angeles in the Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District as a high school counselor. I was also a CTE counselor at our district office for the past 3 years. So I had a really great experience with our career technical education program. And then for the past 10 years, I've coordinated our San Diego Union High School District College and Career Night and Fair. So of course, that's not happening right now, but in the past it was. So we're going to touch on that today a little bit.
All right, and Jamal.
How's everybody doing today? My name is Jamal Felton. It may say Coach Jamal in my my description on my screen, and that's mostly just because that's what my students and my parents, that's what they call me. As was said earlier, I'm the College and Career Guidance Tech at Rancho Bernardo High School in the Poway Unified School District. I also coach football and track and field there. Before that, I was a student mentor and worked as an athletic director's assistant at Westview High School. I was there for 16 years until 2019. And I started in the district in 2002, 2003 as a campus security assistant, and I coached football and track and field there. So I come to the counseling department in a different way, but I've used my background to uniquely, I think, help or aid myself in this job.
All right, and hi everyone, I'm Emily Stevenson. I am currently the lead CTE counselor in Poway Unified, so career technical education. And prior to coming to Poway Unified, I actually was the co-director of college counseling at La Jolla Country Day School. I also spent a year at 2 different high-tech high campuses in Point Loma as the interim director of college advising. And before that, my career really started, I spent 14 plus years working in college admissions for USD, so University of San Diego, University of California, San Diego, and Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And just like Jamal, I also coach full-time cross country and track and field for one of our high schools. And I'm in my, I don't even know which year doing it, but I've been doing it for a while.
So we want to share with you what our goal for today is. We really, if we want to go to the next slide, we added a funny little comic in here to kind of keep us focused and what we're looking at. And this is Dr. Seuss, who said, "You have brains in your head and feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose." So understanding most of us are working with secondary students if you're attending this session. This, I think, is so applicable to the students that we work with and the exciting opportunity we have as counselors to support their growth and their direction they choose in post-secondary. So we kind of narrowed down to 3 goals today to speak with you. And the main one is supporting each and every student to realize their post-secondary goals. And obviously that includes building relationships with our students, knowing our students, taking a really sincere interest in their post-secondary goals, and being transparent and working with our students so they know that they can trust us and we're a good resource for them. And how can we do this? And we want to look at the lens of closing the equity gap, ensuring that all of our students, each and every one, have access to post-secondary goals, and then increased access and awareness to their post-secondary opportunities. So not only is it that those opportunities exist, but how do our students know about these opportunities, and how do they know that this is something they as an individual have access to? And then third, demonstrating that college and career equals post-secondary. No longer is it, you're a college-bound student or you're a career-bound student. It is one and the same. And today's session is really designed to allow us to focus on all of our students are going towards a career eventually. So college may be on the path for some and may not for others. So we want to make sure we have an open mind to that approach that we're taking. And I know for myself as a high school counselor, college and career counseling was my favorite part. We all go into counseling for different reasons, and this was the lens I felt was really the most fun for me and the most that came natural. So hopefully some of you in the session today feel the same way, or maybe you're looking to embrace this arena that we work in. I think we're going to do a poll response. Nice work, Jamal.
Oh, except for it's not coming up on our one for everybody else. So maybe I will just tell them, or Jamal can just tell them. It worked for our Google slide, but I think we're working from, it's not updating with the preview or with the presentation.
It didn't, but I will show you, or I can tell you if you want to see. For the most part, I don't have everyone's information yet, but it looks like we have about 71% of us are high school. Next would be 14.3% of us from the middle school, and about 7% each from district admin and elementary.
Great. Thanks, Jamal. Okay, so as I mentioned when I introduced myself, my background, I'm new to public education, working full-time. I mean, I obviously learned a lot about it through my grad school experiences, but this is kind of a new experience for me, and I have a lot of experience working in higher education and also in the independent sector as well. And so we kind of want to take a minute to just acknowledge the differences and kind of what's unique about working in a public school setting. So, we talk about, and as we were writing this, we're like, we really need to make this positive, because the first thing we started saying is, oh my gosh, the caseloads are so big, we're always getting pulled in 15 different directions. But really, I mean, it's an opportunity, right? We have bigger caseloads working in a public school district or for public schools, but that means we have a more diverse student body. We have a bigger group, and the reason I moved to a public school district is because there's more students we can touch, more students we can influence. It is a balancing act, right? We often say that as counselors, or at least it feels like, we're constantly making schedule changes and putting out fires. And that kind of interrupts what we're doing on a day-to-day basis in a way, but it's kind of the cool part about our job, because we don't know what each day is going to bring. But we're balancing the social, emotional needs of our students, college and career, plus academic counseling as well. And of course, as you guys all know, there's even more than just those two things. The unpredictable schedule, and then we just need more time in the day, just to build those relationships with students. And really, the thing that I see the biggest difference between public and private school setting is building the relationships with our college and career representatives, whether it's business partners, whether it's college admissions representatives as well. All right.
And so we thought it would be fun to provide a framework for us all as we go into some exciting strategies we want to share with you. So we created a scenario. This is completely fictional, but maybe you all can think of a student you're currently working with, or a student you worked with in the past, as we apply some strategies. So for today, we're going to introduce Jessica. Jessica is a sophomore at ABC High School and has shared with you as her counselor or her guidance tech or whatever role you play in Jessica's life that she would like to attend a four-year university and pursue a career in cosmetology or architecture. She's enrolled in all college prep courses right now and has earned a GPA of a 3.6. She's on track for high school graduation and admission to a four-year college, and she's planning to take her SAT or ACT during her junior year. So if you want to play along with us, think about Jessica as we're going through the next few strategies so that you can apply, and then we'll come back to her and kind of give you some feedback on our separate approaches that we would take with a student with a similar profile to Jessica. Okay, so now we're getting into kind of the meat of the presentation. How can we align college and career counseling in a public school setting? So as we talked about earlier, they are the one and the same. So looking ahead at these strategies, we really want to focus on post-secondary opportunities for our students. Every student, K through 12, has a plan that they're going to pursue, and those plans will evolve and change and grow. And as counselors, I believe it's our role to support students and work alongside them for this work. Providing students the opportunity to talk with you, providing them to problem solve, to share dreams, and know that they have someone they can trust through this process. So we've identified 8 strategies that we're going to go through that are kind of exciting things we've done in our work with students and from a more programmatic space so that all students have access to post-secondary opportunities. The first we're going to go into is the college and career speakers and work-based learning and how that can really design and support your work as a counselor. The second is college and career night and fair. I told you I organized ours for my district, and Emily and Jamal have organized theirs for Poway. So I wanted to, we'll provide a lens in there. Career pathway plans. These are something that some of you may be familiar with, and they're primarily in the scope of a CTE pathway, but they're really interesting documents and tools that counselors can use to work with students in designing their post-secondary plans. Assessment tools, we're going to go into a few different tools to review and see the value in those in your work as counselors. I'm going to show you our San Diego Union District College and Career Events page. Very simple, but I think it has a really strong presence and interesting purpose. And then discuss professional memberships, their value, for example, WACAC and other ones that you may be familiar with. Also, community college district, community college articulations, the value of early college credit for our students. And then finally, looking at career counseling specifically and highlighting the work that San Diego Workforce Partnership is doing. So moving along, I think this is Emily, the first one.
Yep. So college and career readiness, I mean, we wouldn't have it without speakers, work-based learning experiences. And so, you know, that's one of the things that I was brought into Poway to support is our K through 12 college and career readiness. You know, really these things allow for opportunities for students to gain deeper insight into college careers and different fields that exist out there. And really, you know, so often we get stuck in the 4-year opportunities or the straight to career opportunities, and really they're very interchangeable. I mean, both of those two things can exist without the other. And really what we're trying to do in our districts is start from the top. So what is it that I want to do when I grow up? And how do we get to those career opportunities? But we have to students, we have to help them understand, who am I? What am I good at? What is my why? And how do I tie that into a career opportunity? Something that we do in our district, obviously in a lot of our districts, is the job shadow opportunities, internships, industry tours. We bring in career speakers. We use a program called NEPRIS in our district, which allows for virtual career speakers. And I can't even tell you how much this has come in handy during the COVID pandemic, because we can still bring these industry professionals to our students, even though we can't meet in person. It also allows us to not have to rely on the same speakers over and over, because that's what was happening. And, you know, people are busy with their jobs, and while they want to help, we don't want to always have to ask the same people to take time away from their jobs. And then same thing with the college speakers, building these relationships with the college admissions rep. And this is something that Jamal does so well at RB High School in working with his counselors and supporting his counselors. But he, just like I did when I was a college rep, getting to know high school counselors, but especially what I did as the co-director of college counseling at an independent school, was we know our reps. We know who to call when a student has a question about something, or if we have a question about a student who we're trying to guide their college process. We don't call the main admissions line. Nope, we call our reps. That's for our school that we've built a relationship with. So I think that's something that's really important, and providing those opportunities for those people to come talk to students as well. And then something else we're doing in our district is career speaker series. And what we do is we bring in, I host them at our district office. We bring in different themes. So we'll have a health science night or a medical career night. We'll have a business night, a sports of business night, or maybe computer science and engineering. And we'll go out and find 9 to 12 different professionals that work in that field that are not in the obvious careers, right? So that students can come, listen to these professionals speak, but then the key to it is they have an opportunity afterwards to go network with those professionals one-on-one. So they can go up and ask any questions that they might have. And it's starting to build those soft skills as well. All those things that will really help them better understand where it is they want to go and what they're interested in. I don't know if you want to jump in and say anything, Jamal, about that, or talk about it later.
Yeah, I'll quickly touch on two pieces. When you spoke about the career speakers, it was wonderful when Emily let me know about NEPRIS just as we were going into COVID and school was shutting down, because we always did our career speakers, or career panels as we called them, in person on campus. And obviously when that was taken away, one of the best things about NEPRIS was it opened the scope, or opened the umbrella. It widened our scope, I should say, of career professionals that we could actually talk to. These professionals are all over the country. They're available, and they do NEPRIS does all the work for us. So they help us in locating and securing people to come speak. But the best part is these professionals help our kids even past just the time that they're talking to them and then presenting. So as far as like college speakers, Emily was talking about the college speaker part of it. We've used Zoom, obviously like everybody else. We've used Zoom to provide that opportunity for our kids to talk to the admissions reps. And I'll give an example. A quick example is I've had a few students who had issues with their applications, and they didn't really know who to talk to, and they weren't getting the information they needed. And I was able to, through conversation, and kids were referred by their teachers, hook them up with one of the admin reps, and they were able to solve or rectify their problem. So I think it's worked wonders for us.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
And I'd add a fun silver lining of this strange life we're all living is it's easier, I've learned, to access college and career speakers right now in a virtual setting than it is to book them in the good old days of having to coordinate, will you come to period 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? So it's an easier way for our career professionals and college admissions to speak with a larger group of students at once as well.
And I'll be honest, I hope that some of this doesn't change. Like, I hope we still can do some things virtually, because I think there's a greater opportunity to reach more students, but provide more opportunities for students as well. Although there is something to be said about that face-to-face that I know we all miss.
Just gives us a flexibility.
Yes. Yeah.
So this slide we want to dedicate to this college and career nights that I'm sure many of you have in your secondary programs. And the history here is in San Diego, we have 5 high schools, and we each used to have our own college night. So this was about 12 or 15 years ago. And it was probably, similar. We'd have all the college reps come to the school, and we'd have breakout sessions with different topics. And it was like University of Arizona would present on the college essay, and whatnot. University of Texas would present on, standardized testing, what have you. And we realized as a district, this is a lot of energy and a lot of time that a counselor is using of their work to schedule this ×5. And the access is different. All of our students, depending what school they go to, have different access to different, at that time, it was colleges. Then we realized we can work smarter, not harder. Let's do a district-wide event. So that was where we kind of went to our district and said, would you be in support of this? Obviously, there's a financial contribution, but we want to do it at a neutral place that's in the middle geographically of our district. So it doesn't feel like it's one school site running the show. It's a collective effort of all 5 of our high schools, and all of our students have access to the same information. And it started as college night and fair, and then we also decided it would be the typical fair where students would go around to the booths, like you all know, and be able to talk to individual representatives and admissions officers, and then at the same time provide like a hybrid feature of information sessions. So it kind of evolved, and in the past 5 or 6 years, we thought, this is so silly. We are missing the whole point of what we're doing. This is not just college for our students. This is career. This needs to be college and career. So that was kind of at the same time when our CTE pathways became more prominent in our district, and we really shifted our focus to college and career, and encouraging students to participate in CTE pathways and explaining to them what are they, how are they different than standalone electives or the ROP courses of the past, and why are they valuable to our students? So we integrated that into our college night. So the past 3 or 4 years, we've had over 200 college and career representatives attend. And like I said, it's at a neutral party. We do it at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. And we do have to pay for the cost of that place. But that's something that we've built into some budgets at our district level. So we have some great support at our district for this. And then all of our students attend for free. And it's a really nice process. We have every high school counselor is involved in some way, whether it's being there that night or preparing for it or taking it down. We've really gotten it down to quite a well-oiled machine, as far as there's not a lot of planning that goes into it other than communicating with the college reps, which gives us a great opportunity to make those connections. So they now know who we are, they know the difference between our high schools, and then all of our students have access to the same opportunities. So of course, when COVID hit, we did not get to do our college fair last spring, and we won't do it this spring. So we hope that in the future it will come back, although this kind of format seems so crazy now with the world we live in. So I'm sure we'll have to adjust and make some changes. But if anyone ever has questions, if they're planning this, feel free to let me know.
Well, and if I could just jump in too, is I will tell you guys that when I found out that I was going to be asked to take the lead on our district college and career fair, the first person I called was Jayme, and I said, can I please, I know I've attended your fair as a college rep, but can I please come and just see the background of it, and how you do it and how you invite people in the setup, because having attended it so many times, I knew that what they were doing was the right thing to be doing. Now in our district, we do host it at a high school. So Coach Jamal actually gets to be on the college and career fair committee because it has been hosted historically at Rancho Bernardo High School. So, we tried to actually model some of what, take what we're already doing that's working in our district, but I was trying to incorporate some of the things that San Diego was doing as well. We did turn it into a college and career night virtually this past fall, which now that I've done it, I'm like, oh, it wasn't that bad, but it was definitely daunting walking into it and trying to change a format, and also changing the mindset from fair to college and career night, because I didn't want to do a virtual college fair. I wanted to provide presentations for families that were really geared towards the information that our seniors especially were missing, because they didn't have the spring or the fall of their senior year in person, and the opportunity to meet with college reps one-on-one and hear those presentations in their classrooms as well. And then our district, I didn't say this, guys, and I'm sorry I'm taking extra time, but our district, we also do middle school career fairs as well. In an ideal world, we would do that at the district level, but right now it is on individual sites by invitation. But something we were going to try, and then COVID hit, and I stole it, I will admit, I stole it from the dean of the business school at Rutgers University. He requires all of his business students who are graduating from their business school to participate in business lunches. Why? Because so many things take place over a meal. And so it's really important that students know how to eat and drink while in a job interview. Well, something that we talked about, I brought this to the table and I said, well, why can't we do this with our middle school students? Why can't we use the assessment tools, which Jamal will talk about in a little bit, and pull students who are interested in different careers. And rather than having a fair, let's say we target these 20 students or however many we can do, and invite business professionals to come have lunch with them on campus. Why? They learn how to shake a hand when we're allowed to shake hands again. They learn how to make eye contact, but they're also in that setting of learning these soft skills, they're learning about different careers. So we were going to pilot it last spring. Obviously, it got stopped, but hopefully we'll be able to implement that again once we're back in person. Okay, now I took more time on that slide.
It's obviously near and dear to our heart. We care
Yes,
about it.
yes, opportunity.
So this is exciting too, career pathway plans, and different districts call them different things. It's essentially a tool that counselors can use, and CTE teachers is how it was designed to support students progressing through a CTE pathway. And in that process, understanding what is the value I have as a student in a CTE pathway, and why is this something I should take instead of that standalone pathway? Why do I need to do a sequence intentional coursework of 2 to 3 to 4 classes? So this document is designed we designed it in our district last year to really highlight these pathways and explain what they are, what the classes are, what are some qualities within the pathways that are really beneficial to our students. And then on the back side, which I'll get to next, it has all of the labor market information and post-secondary pathway alignment in our local San Diego County region. So I felt like with my counselor hat on, this is a really great resource, not only for students, but for parents to see as they're looking at course selection or trying to have that conversation with their child about their post-secondary planning. It really helped us as counselors working with the CTE teachers, because they understood our role in this process and how that builds from their the availability of the classes that they want to offer, and making sure that the students are selecting those courses and that we can continue to offer these capstone classes that are usually smaller than the others. So this front side is designed to really highlight what is the pathway. So in this example, it's the business management pathway at Torrey High School. I included this statement from CDE about what that is, so that we keep our language consistent. And then on the left is all the areas that we really wanted to highlight. So the course name, does the course articulate for college credit? What are the work-based learning components? What student certifications are available? And what leadership student opportunities are available to our students? So you'll be able to see in each course, it defines all of those. I will say we just updated this actual document because they now do have a student certification for social media marketing. So we've added that. The goal would be, if you're a parent or a ninth grader, incoming ninth grader, you can see like, this is so great. This is all the opportunities I have alone just looking at a regular piece of paper of all the courses that you get to pick from. It's like, well, what are these and what's unique about these? So that's the front side. And then you kind of show it's going to equal you can be a CTE completer in this pathway. And then on the back, these are live hyperlinks that, of course, I manage. So that's a whole nother job in and of itself, but making sure that students realize, okay, if this is my pathway, I could go on to Maricosta College, which is our local community college. And I could go into any one of these AA programs or certificate programs, or I could go into a four-year college and I could get, I could go to San Diego State and look at the College of Business. I could go to Cal State San Marcos and look at the College of Business Administration. I could go to Point Loma. I could go to USD. I could go to UCSD. So obviously there's so many colleges out there, but this is a snapshot of what they could pursue with this pathway background. And then below is the labor market information, which also has to be updated. I will say these are kind of labor intensive, but I really think they're so valuable for our students to see this all in one package together. And then on the very bottom are the skills that are important for that specific pathway that employers have shared. So working with students to be like, just, a heads up, this is a pathway. If this is what you enjoy, you're going to need to communicate a lot in here. Is that what you like to do? You're going to need to manage your time pretty well. Is that something you're good at, or is that a skill you should work on? So this is a snapshot, and we have one of these for each of our CTE pathways at 4 of our high schools, because we have pathways at 4 high schools. And then I know Poway has some to share too.
Yes, so we have some, ours have gone through quite the evolution, and I'll see if I can bring them up. But, prior to my coming to Poway Unified, there was a realization that no one knows what CTE is. No one knows the benefit to it. People really saw it still as the old ROP model. And really, our courses, they're academic, as those of you who are familiar with CTE, they're academic courses that complement the core academic classes that students are already taking. And the whole point of them is to prepare students for college and career. So we've kind of gone through an evolution of just, okay, here's what we offer at each high school. Here's the overview of classes. And now we've moved on to, and then we kind of created one that was more counselor forward that showed the A through G. And the ones that we're just now completing, and this is our first one that's as close to done as I could be, although there are going to be more changes that we're doing. But really, we want this to be something that our teachers own. Our teachers can update, because who knows their students, who's more proud of the course that they teach than that teacher or those teachers in that pathway. So just kind of getting to know the teacher, talking about what makes a pathway completer when we're talking about CTE and the college and career indicator that's kind of set forth by the state now to show, on that California dashboard. And then we link it to Zello, which Jamal will talk about later, but just our career assessment tool that we use. And then also, like we mentioned earlier, to NEPRIS. So a student can click on any of these careers and it'll take them to a speaker that talks specifically to that career. And then how do you get involved? And this is the slide we're still working on, but how do you get involved at your school site to get more experience, to see, is this something I want to do, or is this something that I'm not interested in? So that's kind of our latest document, I guess, that we're using. And again, it's just, this document was meant to be student facing so that students can say, oh, this is really something I want to learn more about. That will enhance my, my experiences. And we are working on them for the middle school too, as we do have these classes at the elementary and middle school level as well. All right.
So can you guys hear me? Can I get a thumbs up on this? Okay, just wanted to make sure. I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about the assessment tools. And Emily thankfully just referenced, we use something called Zello, but there are a lot of different assessment tools that are out there. I know, Jayme, I think your district uses Thrively. There is a lot of counselors in the room are familiar with Naviance. One of the schools, I know Westview, Westview High School in the Poway district uses Score. So there are a lot of different tools. It really doesn't matter specifically which one, just knowing what it is that your school has access to, learning that and being able to implement it, that's what you really want. So just to give you an idea, if you see right on the screen, if you notice under my name, there's something that says under About Me, it says Matchmaker. And there's a Matchmaker personality style as well as a learning style quiz that we try to make sure to get the kids to run them through. And if you look at my notes right over here, the biggest part, myself as a paraprofessional, I'm here to help the counselors. And I think that's what, whatever school that you're at, make sure to try to work with your paraprofessionals, your guidance techs, your counseling assistants to help you as counselors, because you have so many. I know in our district, there's 600 to 1. So time is of the essence, and they don't always have time to run the students through these. So that's where I come in. Our goal on our campus is to, and again, this has been tested by, with COVID, but is to meet with all the 9th grade students on campus. That sounds like a great thing. How do you do that? For example, at our campus, one of the things we're trying to do, and actually we'll be starting as we started a new term, is to try to meet through, we know that all our freshmen have to take freshman PE. So we try to work with that department to get a little bit of time to go through these things with our students. That's one of the ways we can get to all of our freshman students. But we also want to hit the new students, because some of our kids aren't coming to our schools in 9th grade. They're coming in their sophomore, their junior, or even their senior year. So mostly that's when you're starting to work with your teachers to find out who those new students are, and myself, the counselors, who know who those new students are coming in. We try to incorporate the assessments into the CRF process, otherwise known as the course request form process, as they're choosing their classes. If we've already run them through Matchmaker, personality style, and learning style, this is one of those things that all counselors have access to in our district. They can meet with a student and look at already some of the things that that this student wants to do. And I'm going to speak to this. There's a comment actually just in the box really quickly that it isn't free. And you're right about that part. Our Zello is not a free program, but there are certain things like workforce.org that do some of the exact same things. So I'm speaking from Zello point of view, but there are other resources that you can use, and you'll see those later in the presentation that will give you the same things. And I think the last part, what I'd like to talk about is connecting with campus support systems. Outside of just meeting with those classes, your AVID programs, your SPED, your special ed resource programs, your ELL or ELD, it may be called in some districts. You want to meet with those teachers and those department heads, because those programs sometimes, that's where you many times want to start. It's a way to work on that achievement gap or lessening that achievement gap, but really connecting with all of your students. So that's kind of where I come in with the assessment tools. And again, I'm speaking about Zello, but there are a lot of different resources that you can use. Like I said, workforce.org is one that I've just recently come across that you can use, which is free. And the next slide, really quickly, one thing I want to touch on in here, and I know workforce.org does this exact same thing, just so you know, but I spoke about the assessment tools. What it does is it provides students with an array of different, how do I put it, careers that are excellent matches, good matches, fair matches that they can save. If you notice down on one of them under school counselor, there's a little heart. Each student, if they really like a career, they can save it and they can come back and refer to it later. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what that looks like. And they may look different for different resources, but they do almost all of the same things. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Jamal. I was going to let everyone know, by the way, we have 33 of us on here, which is great. There's a few, for the poll earlier, we had results on the topics that people were interested in learning today. And so I just wanted to summarize a few of them. A lot of questions about CTE, how to integrate more CTE, information about career exploration at the middle school level. So we'll be sure to touch on that as well. More ways to collaborate, which good news, we have a slide for that. How to build programs and how to help students who are not going to college. So we will be sure to concentrate on those items as well. So the next slide I wanted to share with you, this is something we just did this year because of the shift from everything going virtual. And again, from our district lens of how do we ensure all of our students have access to the same opportunities, regardless of the high school they go to, we created a district-wide college and career events page. So this is something that all of our counselors at the high school level and middle school level have access to. And they promote this with their students as a resource. And this includes a link for every college and career opportunity that comes through, which, as you guys know, you get them from everywhere and you have to vet that they're legit and make sure before you promote them to your students. So this is, once we do all that work, we put them in this calendar, and then they have the Zoom link or whatever, virtual link and information for the students to choose from. So it's nice because you can put it there and then it's hands off. So we did that for all of our college visits and any career exploration that comes through, or student opportunities. If there was a leadership program or a Miracosta initiative, we can add that in here as well. We also included a link for scholarship opportunities. So the same concept as you probably all do in the secondary level, you have your ongoing list of scholarships that your students can access when it's that time to apply. So this is a district-wide list. And it's a collaborative effort between all of our high schools. So we all share one doc and we add to it. So that's nice because it takes the burden off of one person. And then we actually added another one that isn't on here, but it's a summer program link. So as you know, this time of year is when a lot of summer programs are available to students to apply for. So we have that document. And I think the feedback has been really strong from our counselors because the students feel, really informed. They feel like they know what to do and they have a place to go for all this information. And it's in lieu of having to, go into the counseling office and ask for this information in the good old days. So this has been one of those COVID wins. I also think it's important for, if you did design something like this, communication is key, ensuring that all of admin know about this at any school site it affects, making sure that any teachers that can support know, finding a way to make sure the district knows, because it's a positive that that we can share with counseling and the work that we're doing to support student growth.
Professional memberships, and I'll just briefly touch on them. I mean, I put obviously CAST and ASCA up there because I think those are very important as school counselors that we stay tied to, but I think some that aren't as obvious to public school counselors, especially are WACAC, NACAC, and RAC. So in case you guys aren't familiar with those three organizations, NACAC is the National Association of College Admissions Counselors, and WACAC is the Western Association, which falls under NACAC, and RAC actually falls, which is Regional Admissions Counselors of California, falls under WACAC. So they're all, this is where all of your four-year institutions are members, as well as most of your private school counselors are going to be a member of these organizations or partners of these organizations. Why are they important, and why are professional memberships, like all of these I have up here, important? Because they help us stay connected. They help us, as you guys probably know if you are a member, it helps keep us from having to reinvent the wheel. We can rely on each other, gain fresh perspectives and ideas. If you guys don't know about RAC, you need to check them out, whether you're, and this will be mostly for your middle and high school counselors, but they will provide free presentations, free resources, free, you name it, if it has to do with college going, to any school. All you have to do is go to their website, which is regionaladmissions.org. I'll put it in the chat in a minute. And you can sign up to have them do different presentations. They have a YouTube channel where they let you tour different topics about their schools or about college admissions. I had our rep from University of New Mexico, Gary B. He actually came and talked to our kindergarten ASD class about just going to college, or why would you even think about it, and why is it possible? He also spoke to a bunch of our AVID classes as well, and did a great job not promoting necessarily University of New Mexico, but promoting just the four-year experience. And I think to students, especially to students who maybe don't see themselves with that kind of an opportunity, helping to say, hey, wait, I can do this. It was really, he did such a great job. And oh, by the way, I can afford it because it's actually less expensive than a lot of our in-state institutions. So I would highly recommend it. WACAC is a free membership to public school counselors. So it costs you nothing to join. NACAC is changing their membership to make it more accessible to public school counselors, but I know, like our district, that's not something that they'll pay for us, so it's a little bit more complicated. But WACAC and RAC are free to partner with them, so I highly recommend it just for the resources. Even if you're thinking, okay, what do I do with my students who aren't college going? I think they still have resources that will support you in supporting those students. So that would be my 2 cents on those. All right, now community college.
And we're at number 7, you guys. Thank you for going through this with us. This is a great way, I think, to really focus on the CTE questions that we've been asking. When we looked at our CTE pathways and building them, and again, trying to add college and career together to make it one, we realized, well, our students feel like CTE pathway is that career option, like they are not a college-bound student. So in some cases that's a good, some cases that's not a good thing. So we decided to really focus on ensuring that a lot of our CTE pathway classes are UC approved. So they're still college prep. And then also the early college credit piece, whether it's articulation or dual enrollment, so that students were earning college credit while in high school for these courses that they were completing in high school with no extra cost. So that became a really strong feature that people seem to really enjoy, including students and parents. So that pathway I showed you earlier with the Torrey Pines Business Pathway, every class in that pathway is aligned with the MiraCosta college course. So the students who complete that pathway graduate with 9 units of college credit. And some of that is transferable to UC and Cal State campuses. So I think that's a huge selling point and a great tangible way to overlap college and career. So again, the benefits of early college credit, and you may know about it as dual enrollment, articulation, concurrent enrollment, is that students earn college credit while in high school. It's free, it's no cost to the student. The high school coursework aligns with the college curriculum. So on both sides, they determine that the work the students and the knowledge they're gaining is the same, so that if it's transferable to a higher level institution, then they've satisfied those requirements. And students start their college transcript early, and essentially it's building that pathway. And in our case, you know, for some students, they don't feel like they're the college bound student, but if they see that they've already earned the college credit and they see where that can lead them, they may be more interested in at least discussing that option. Like we said, not all students are college bound, but they still have the credit and they don't have to do anything beyond what they're already doing for their high school credit to get this college credit. Emily, you want to add on to that?
I was going to say too, is like what I tell students is that credit doesn't go anywhere either. So let's say they decide they're going to go straight to industry, they're going to do an apprenticeship, maybe they're going to go to the military. If they at some point decide, yes, I want to go back and go and get either a 2 or 4 year degree, they can request those transcripts. It's just a college transcript that will sit at the partner community college. So there's no loss to the student. Other than the 30 minutes it takes them to fill out that college application to their community college. Okay, so career counseling. I don't know, let's see. Do one of you guys want to start with this one, or do you want me to?
I can start with that first slide, or the first link. So this is a hyperlink, and it goes, I don't know if you want to click on it, Emily. It goes to, so San Diego Workforce Partnership has designed this new resource, and I think it just came out in October, and you may be familiar with it. They have a tab for educators and then one for students and one for employers, but it's a really good place to like bookmark in your browser. If you scroll down, it provides classroom strategies for career readiness and a lot of different tools that you can use. As counselors, you can build this into your guidance lessons or your class grade level lessons. Great for middle school. There's a lot of information. I know in our district we do middle school exploration. So in high school middle school is career exploration, high school is career preparation. So we use these tools in addition to Thrively in middle school. So going through as an educator just with that lens of whatever population you're serving, and this is a great resource. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And then the second one, the sector resources, Emily, if you don't mind checking that. I love this. So as you know, we have priority sectors, and that's the third link I included. And when you are designing CTE pathways, the goal is that you're designing pathways that align with our San Diego or whatever region you're a part of with those priority industry sectors, because that is where the jobs are. That's where the middle skilled jobs are for our students who graduate and go directly into the workforce. So the vision of CTE is that they graduate with the CTE experience, and then they have the skills and certifications to go directly into those middle skilled jobs. So these are just some great resources to use as you're building those programs or redesigning them or updating them. And we wanted to make sure you all knew about these. And then the third one is the posters, which I'm sure you've all seen if you're at a secondary level. It's the San Diego Workforce creates these really good, like nice posters for all the industry sectors. And if you scroll to the bottom of this page, they're printable. So you can, let's see, I think keep going. I made sure they were there. You can print them, you can post them on websites, there they are. And so it's just a good visual tool to support the work you're doing.
I'd also like to jump back into the same one, workforce.org, that same website. If you just type in workforce.org, it has or provides some of the same resources that Zello and Thrively and some of those things that I was talking about earlier. So let's say your school or your district doesn't have the money to spend on securing a system like that. You can use workforce.org to do some of the same things.
Exactly. And then I won't click on these just because we're slowly running out of time or quickly running out of time, but the middle school career continuum and the high school career continuum, those were both adopted by the San Diego Imperial region. It's a great resource if you're trying to figure out how do I align middle and high school career development, and really you can tie college into that as well. Just as far as in the school setting, outside of the school setting, it ties in social emotional awareness all the way through work-based learning. So I encourage you when you get these slides later to take a look at them, and really that might give you some ideas of how to align what you're doing at your school sites and within your districts. All right.
All right.
Whoops,
I clicked on it.
Hold on. I gotta not click on there we go.
So we're going to revisit the scenario we shared earlier about Jessica, the student that you work with. So we're each going to give you a quick snapshot of how we'd respond to Jessica or work with Jessica. Jamal, do you want to go first?
Yes. So if in my situation, if Jessica either came into the College and Career Center or she was referred, my first thing that I would do is just see what are some of the things she's already done and completed within the College and Career Readiness software that we use. That would be one thing, so that I could see, okay, well, she's already done this. She already has. It's not that she's just telling me that, hey, I want to be an architect, or I want to be, I'm forgetting what Jessica wanted to do. I think it was
cosmetology or architecture.
Or architecture. So it's not just she's saying that, but it's borne out in the quizzes that we've already run her through. And so then one of the other things that I would do is let her know, hey, you know what, do you want to talk to someone, an industry professional? We're having a career night. And I'll give her all the information she needs through NEPRIS that she has access to. The other thing is I'm going to talk to her about, because she knows that she wants to go to college. She needs to know certain things, like we offer information regarding college scholarships and things like that. So I'll let her know where that information is. She also might want to know about information about internships, which we usually post in the College and Career Center. And those are things that I will make sure that she's aware of before she goes and talks to her counselor.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to say, I can just kind of piggyback onto what Jamal said, because my approach would be very similar. I mean, looking at it, for me, we were talking about yesterday, everything I do now has that college admissions hat on it. There's no way I can get rid of that after working in that industry for so long. But really looking at, okay, how can we set her up for the most opportunity, right? Because as a sophomore, you don't really know you have an idea what you want to do, but you're still figuring out who you are. So it's really saying, okay, how can we make sure all doors are open so that when the time comes, no matter what, Jessica was her name, right? No matter what Jessica wants to do, those opportunities are there. And we've walked away saying, okay, Jessica, you are confident in who you are. You understand what you're good at. You see that whether you want to go into cosmetology, whether you want to go into architecture, whether something else in between comes along, you have the ability to make any decision you want, because those doors have all been open for you and you've been set up to be able to have everything you need foundationally to make those decisions.
And of course, the same, but I'll provide a different lens to this. So I really think anytime we're working with a student who's willing to divulge their dreams with you as their counselor, it's really being that social emotional connection too, and thanking the student for that time and for giving them an insight into what they're thinking, and then educating them on, okay, you told me 4-year college, that stands out. You've told me cosmetology, that stands out. You've told me architect, totally different than cosmetology, but there is overlap, right? You're a creative student, you want to design, there's a lot that you can see. And so educating her on the differences of those pathways of understanding cosmetology may or may not, you don't need to go to a 4-year college for that. But at the same time, will that change? And you don't want to lose that opportunity if you do want to pursue architecture. So education is key, but also support and growth and acknowledgement that this is a fluid process and will likely change since she's a sophomore in high school. But then developing a timeline and providing checks and balances to come back and check with me, like Jamal said, do this, come back, let's talk about it, or provide resources for her to investigate on her own and just not eliminate any options in the future, which I'm sure is what all of you are thinking in your mind. I'm sure we're all on the same page.
The hard part is how busy we are, right?
Right? Like, how could
Absolutely.
we do that with every student? It would be amazing.
Right.
And have every student know they could come to us with and say something like that.
Right.
So,
So who is our support network? It's obviously bigger than this, but Jamal will touch on this for us.
So who is the support network on campus? I mean, I think every school we know looks different. At Rancho Bernardo High School, we have the counseling department. There's a guidance tech, myself. We have a counseling assistant. We have 4 alpha counselors and 1 counselor who's a CTE / intervention counselor. So for us, that is that's the core, our core network within counseling. But that's not enough. That's obviously only the beginning of it. Part of the network is your teachers. Part of the network is, and I'll add this part, is the students. For example, for me, I also work with the peer counselors on campus, and knowing who the kids are, helps me learn, or how do I put it? It knocks down some of the barriers to having other kids come in and see me. I try to get out there on campus, make sure that I'm visible, but the peer counselors are connected to all the other students. Know who your, make sure you know who your Avid's part of the support network. Like I mentioned earlier, your ELD coordinators, your resource coordinators, those are all people that are part of the network. So really your school is your support network. It starts with counseling. It starts with meeting as a counseling team, and then making sure that the rest of your campus knows what you have to offer.
Next slide.
Oh, I think you.
You went
Yep,
back.
I was.
We're almost done.
You're
we
muted.
promise.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
Sorry.
guys. Oh, and this kind of goes over that slide more. Sorry, I didn't realize I hadn't moved it. But yeah, just each other. The three of us today, we're happy. We're going to put our emails at the end, but you guys can always reach out to us with any questions or for support, or maybe we can connect you with someone else. But I think that's the biggest thing is as counselors, we get so busy because we are trying to serve and help so many students that we forget that we can rely on each other even outside of our schools, right? We're great at collaborating within our counseling staff in our school sites, but knowing we can reach outside and ask for support. And we just thought this was really funny. So this is what we're trying to avoid is students graduating from high school and really still having no idea at all what they're doing.
And acknowledging it's okay to not have any idea what you're doing.
Yes, and yes, it is okay.
Part of the process.
And I mean, I think, if we're setting students up with the right tools to kind of have an idea of what they want to do and where they want to go, but also giving them the confidence that they can pivot and that's okay. Because, as we all know, so much changes when you graduate from high school and get out into the real world.
And here's our contact information. Like Emily said, feel free to email us with any questions you have that, we covered today. And we really appreciate your time and for sharing this past hour with us. Amber, is there anything you want to share?
Yes, I want to thank all three of you for coming. It was a great presentation. We want to thank all the attendees for coming and spending the last hour with us. Before you leave, we are asking that you take the survey, put it the link in the chat. But other than that, we're just happy to have you all here.
Thank you so much, everyone. We can hang out in case anyone has any questions for a couple minutes, or feel free to email us.
Oh, I love seeing all these thank yous.
I know. I feel like we tried to cram so much into an hour. So much
Thanks
information.
everybody that came.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
And feel free to unmute if anyone has questions. We're happy to chat.
Awesome.
All right, anything else you need from us, Amber?
Nope, everyone's welcome to leave. I'm just going to keep the room open until 2, just in case.
Yes.
I mean, we
Absolutely.
can hang out.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
happy to hang out till 2. I got nowhere to be.
2 more minutes till 2.
Yep.
Oh, Sarah, hi. It's so weird how you can't, you can see, but it's just.
Yeah, but you can't totally tell.
No.
Oh, it was great. I actually had one of my students, her mom was in here. She's a counselor.
Oh, how exciting.
I know. I'm like,
That's
wow,
awesome.
this is great.
Did she message you?
She did early on, really early on. So it was good.
It's really
All the
cool to
exciting
see these
stuff.
things because I feel like you guys all know each other somehow, and it's just so
Mhm.
cool to see the interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. Yeah, because it's really a small world. Even though counseling, it seems like it would be really big, it's really a small world.
I think
That's
it's
what we
great.
decided when we designed this presentation, how important collaboration is, because we are a good example of that.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Teamwork.
yes, for
Teamwork
sure.
make the dream work, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good
Yeah, because I
stuff.
met Jayme during my field work back when I was in grad school.
See, that's just so crazy that now you've two, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because she actually wrote one of my letters of rec when I was applying for jobs, believe it or not. But I don't know if you remember that, Jayme. But
I probably still have it somewhere.
yeah, I definitely do. It's probably on EdJoin. But but yeah, I mean, it's a small world how that comes around. And I didn't realize when Jayme was going to the district office, it was CTE because I went a different direction first.
That is crazy.
So,
Well, and then I know Emily. Has nothing to do with this. I was in a different job at a different high school, and we're both coaches. So, you know, I know her. I know her boyfriend, fiance, already through coaching, and I met her that way.